Hold on. There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Roaming Prepper Channel, and I'm your host, Pete. And I want to thank you for joining me today. It's been a very busy week. I was able to do a live stream the other night and on YouTube for those of you watching on other channels. And we had a giveaway of a 72-hour ReadyWise kit. My skydive has won it, and it should be getting shipped this weekend. We'll see. But in any case, I wanted to thank you all for joining me. A couple of things have come on my radar. Nothing that will affect us directly, but things we need to kind of keep in our minds as a potentiality that we need to plan around. So I'll be right back and let's talk about a couple of scenarios, little things that have been going on, nothing new, but interesting how they panned out. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you once again for joining me. As always, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And if you have any questions and I don't make it to my own premiere, which does happen, be sure to reach out to me on the comments below the video and I will try to respond in a couple of days if I can. If not, you can always email me at theroamingprepper@gmail.com. Okay, so moving on. The first thing is CDK Global shuts down car dealership software after a cyber attack, which you're probably wondering, well, what the hell is CDK software? Which I had to actually look into. So let me see if I can open this screen, but apparently it will not open because it sucks. So I guess we will not be seeing the article. The It is on USA Today. So CDK is a software company that basically does the software for car dealerships. You know, when you go to a dealership, you sit there and they enter your info, and then they go through this whole process of finding the car. All that goes into CDK. They deal with over 15,000 car dealerships in the US. Well, apparently they were cyber attack. This is a cyber attack on software provider CDK Global upended operations of car dealerships across the US. CDK spokesman Linda Finney said the company shut down most of its systems out of an abundance of caution for customers. By Wednesday afternoon, the company had restored its core document management system and digital retailing solutions. Now, who cares, right? Why is that significant? Well, the problem is most of us have gone to a dealership, you put information in there, and now we're in a database. So clearly that is one potential issue is the theft or obtaining of our personal or financial information by some third parties. However, one of the larger things is the fact that they are hitting kind of oddball companies. Now, what's the significance? Well, in the last since COVID, we've had pipeline get hacked, airlines get hacked, supposedly the air traffic control system get hacked, and now car dealerships, of course, banks, Targets, Capital One, all these, Walmart, everyone's getting hit. Um, it's important to have physical backups of stuff that may or may not affect you, especially when it comes to your financials, personal documents that you may be storing. Now, I've often said if you can get a secure server you're comfortable with, store your documents on the cloud and in hard copy. I try to make a point, I sometimes forget actually, I need to do it now, of printing out my statements once a month, once every other month. That shows all my accounts, my financials, what my balances are, stuff like that. More so my bank accounts and financial accounts than like my credit card. I kind of know, okay, I know I owe X on a credit card. That's not really my money. That's simply them telling me that I've borrowed some of their money and I need to pay it back. I already know that. I'm more worried about the reserves, my savings and reserve funds I have to pay, say, mortgage or electricity in the event I become unemployed, systems go down, something like that. So take the time today or this weekend, 20 minutes, get your printers spun up, print out your bank statements, your retirement accounts, 401s, money market accounts, whatever it is you have. Have a hard copy floating around the house. Not a bad idea. And again, That's just this doesn't affect us directly, but it just reinforces how important it is to have a hard copy of a lot of these docs, as well as maybe something saved elsewhere on a drive. And again, those can get hacked. Your laptop can get hacked. It's, you know, where do you put stuff? But if you have some redundancy, you have some kind of backups in different places, not everything physical, not everything electronic, a mix of both, that really works to your advantage. So the second article, also a hacking issue, GPS jamming, although and this is from Business Insider. The author is Tom Porter, if you want to look it up. GPS jamming now seems to be impacting transatlantic flights. The first known instance of GPS jamming impacting transatlantic flights has been recorded, according to air traffic control data. A flight was forced to operate in a degraded mode. Russia is suspected of being behind GPS jamming in the Baltics. According to air traffic control data cited on June 19th, so it's very recently, by an open source intelligence analyst on X, uh, a flight from Madrid to Toronto was unable to ascend because a flight at a higher altitude had been affected by GPS jamming. So not only was the guy up here no longer knew where he was operating on older redundant systems, but the other planes that were trying to get to altitude had to fly lower. And aircraft and I can speak to this because I was an aerospace engineer as an undergrad. Aircraft are designed to operate at certain altitudes depending on their mission or their objective, right? So an A-10 Warthog is designed for lower altitudes, denser atmosphere, more humidity, and to operate at long periods of time. Hence the big engines with the big intakes, the long wings, the double tails. It's specifically designed to operate at lower altitudes and very slow speeds. Again, it's a ground attack aircraft. A Boeing 737 is not a ground attack aircraft. It's meant to get speed, go up very high, and gets its optimum fuel range at the higher altitudes, 20, 30, 40,000 feet, wherever they are. That being said, if planes are forced to fly at different altitudes than is their optimum altitude because of this kind of issue, planes will burn up fuel at a different rate. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that. It's kind of like your transmission in your car is optimized to give you the best mileage at certain speeds. Like if you're traveling, you know, 60 miles an hour down or 70 miles an hour down the highway versus 20 in stop and go traffic, you burn a lot less fuel at the 70 miles an hour per minute while you're driving because you're at the optimum speed and function of the transmission. Planes are the same way. So they're designed to go to a higher altitude, jetliners in specific, and fly for longer with an assumption they'll burn fuel at a certain rate. When they're flying at a different altitude, lower altitude, you have a thicker oxygen fuel mix, and it changes the way the plane is being efficient with its fuel. Also, there's more drag at lower altitudes because it's a denser air. So again, these are things people don't think about. They're like, oh, GPS got jammed, but it does affect air traffic. So imagine that if they could take out entire sections of GPS. If you look at like flight radar, there's thousands of airplanes over just the US alone any given hour. Now imagine if GPS goes out in entire sections of the country. That would be a major problem. How do the planes know where they are? More importantly, the planes can probably use other means to find places to land if they need to. But the question is, how do the flights communicate with each other if air traffic control can't guide them because air traffic control doesn't know where they are? They know they're on the radar, but they have to convey this information. Things can get really spun up, and you can imagine how convoluted it can be, much like 9/11, where planes were just landing wherever when the Air Force basically said clear the airways, and like planes meant for Oklahoma wound up landing in Canada and all sorts of weird stuff, and people just got stuck everywhere. This is something you need to plan for if you're traveling, is what if I wind up in the wrong place because of some kind of emergency? Something to think about when you plan your travel. Do you have a contingency? If I'm Even if I'm driving across Texas, oh no, there's been a flood, a hurricane, tornado, some other event, I cannot go through, say, Dallas. Well, can I go around Dallas? Is there another direction I can take to get to my destination? Do I know where good hotels are? Do I know where to fuel up? Doing your homework in advance of a travel opportunity is super important. I can't emphasize that enough. But again, this also speaks to having contingencies, physical maps, especially the trucker maps, which are the laminated fold out maps. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them at truck stops, you can get them at tourist centers. Get physical maps. Free is better. So go to the tourist centers, ask them, do you have a state map or county map? So you have a physical hard copy map. And more importantly, most of you who follow me probably know how to read a damn map. Younger folks don't. I have seen 20-year-olds struggling with a road map because they don't understand it. They're very confused by it. Take the time to teach younger individuals or people without experience to someone who maybe really never traveled anywhere and now they have to go somewhere and they're like, teach them how to read a map. Topographical maps if you're outdoors, road maps if you're traveling. All these things are important for us to understand because redundancy is key. And if you take anything away from this particular video, whether it's the hacking of the car dealerships or the hacking of GPS, having a redundant system, backups in paper, knowing how to read a map, hard copy maps, as well as having your electronic GPS or your phone navigation, all of these are important. Remember, losing GPS would screw up a lot of things very quickly for the US. Our car navigation, could you imagine if someone went into the GPS and decided to tell Google Maps all the wrong information? People would get in wrecks everywhere. Know how to manage your travel without the electronics and with the electronics. But it always makes me feel good to know, you know what? I got a hard copy map in my glove box. I know how to get from A to B. I know which way to go on my highways. Understanding how having redundant systems will help you make better decisions is super important. So, again, if you take anything away from these two incidents, make sure that you understand the importance of having backups both of records as well as the ways to navigate. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with that. Good luck. God bless. Godspeed. Be careful out there. And I will see you guys on the next video. Y'all take care of yourselves.